Disclaimer, this formula is personalized for me and me alone. It may not work for you, but the best way to get the value from videos like these is to take parts of it and apply it to your own uniqueness and individualism. I'll get right into it and my story on how I got addicted and how my damage control is today. My scrolling addiction started around junior year of high school. During COVID, a lot of people my age retained a habit of scrolling, and even after COVID has stayed, that's mostly where I got my addiction from personally. I used to scroll for like hours on end, primarily on TikTok. Then I went to college and I was lucky enough to study a hard major and ended up taking engineering. And I got busy enough so that my addiction eased off. And it was I either was like left with the choice of scrolling or falling behind really on my studies. So it's either I fell behind or I put the phone down and finished my degree. And that's my first point. If you find something that keeps you busy voluntarily or involuntarily, prioritize it over scrolling. The involuntarily part is very easy to do as like it encompasses work, sleep, school, family, friends, but the voluntarily part is a little bit hard because that's when we tend to procrastinate and use scrolling as an outlet. Anyway, my second point is figuring out which algorithm is most damaging for you and being aware of it. For me at the time, it was TikTok, and identifying that problem like solved 90% of it. I knew what I had to fix. So I ended up deleting the app, and I found myself, I kept re downloading it. I kept making excuses to keep it, which told me like, which showed me how addicted I was. But once I disassociated from that algorithm and trained myself not to rely on it heavily, I saw real improvement over time. Even when it felt like nothing was happening in the short term, I always found I could use a like less addictive algorithm against a more addictive one. And by this I mean like Instagram's algorithm wasn't as good and I would be scrolling for like 30 minutes per se, and then I would just be like, what am I doing with my life? Whereas TikTok would keep me on there for like an hour, right? And that's progress to me. But over time, I seen my screen time drop, and the urge kind of faded away, and I stopped procrastinating. And sometimes it doesn't fully go away, and that's fine. Scrolling is used by as an escape for all of us. I scroll a lot. I have a tendency to scroll a lot when I commute back from work. But the idea in my head is if I could limit that exposure, it helps me snap back into reality. In college, I leaned into these 2 points heavily, and it worked. Now, working full time, I don't have TikTok downloaded, no matter what my friends send me, no matter how much they hate me for it. I accept that I'm not strong enough to fight that battle, which means I just don't have to step on the battlefield. The winning move is just not to play. And when I started working, the transition from college was hard, and I leaned on Reels as an outlet again. So this is like a fluctuating thing that happens. Then I built a new habit. I decided to go to the gym every Monday, which was the hardest day because I thought if I could do it on the hardest day, I'd be able to do it on the easiest day. And it slowly became a habit, did it twice a week for a few weeks, and then eventually I was able to go 4 or 5 times a week. But that's my third point. Build habits slowly and start even if it's at 10% of where you want to be in the future and stay consistent. My last point is you have to be willing to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes, and it's you and your brain, and no one else could hold you accountable at the end of the day unless you hold yourself accountable. That's my formula, not anyone else's. Apply your own way and figure it out. Well, at the end of the day, we don't have the same goals or discipline tolerance, and that's fine. but be willing to change. Thank you.